Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yannick Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, our guest is Declan Ivory. Declan Ivory, Intercom's Vice President of Customer Support, is an experienced senior leader with a passion for building and developing high-performing teams and applying digital technologies to support organizations through major business transformation. Prior to sharing his operational expertise and strong leadership to support the growth of Intercom's customer support team, over the last 10 years, Declan has held senior support leadership roles with Amazon Web Services, Tableau Software, and Google Cloud. So without further delay, sit back, plug your earphones in, and let's jump right into this conversation with Declan. Welcome, Declan.
Thanks, Amy. Delighted to be here and really looking forward to our conversation today.
Okay, so we always like to give our guests an opportunity to share a little bit about themselves in their own words. How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, good question. So I originally studied engineering and graduated as an electronics engineer and went straight into the kind of technology industry. And I've stayed in the tech industry for the last 35 years. But one thing I kind of realized very quickly, one, coming from an engineering background, it gave me a strong problem-solving skill. And two, any business only lives for its customers. So I've always been obsessed by doing things for customers and making their life easier and delivering a better customer experience. That's kind of driven me from early on in my career. And as a result, I've ended up in various kind of customer support roles. And in particular, over the last 10 years, I've been working with organizations who are scaling very fast, building out a compelling customer support experience, trying to apply technology to how they're enhancing and improving the customer experience during the support journey. So I kind of had the opportunity to really work in high growth environments. And how I landed in the current role, I was kind of a little bit kind of disappointed at the speed at which the customer service or customer support industry was really adopting technology, and felt like there was a gap there. Like there were some examples of businesses being very innovative, but it wasn't pervasive across the industry. And moving to an organization like Intercom, whose whole kind of raison d'etre is about delivering customer support and having a compelling customer support platform, it was an opportunity, one, to work for an organization that was very innovative and was really driving the technology capability within the customer service space, but also gave me the opportunity to use the same tool that the customers that I'm supporting are using as well, which meant that I could be a genuine voice of the customer back into the product team and really influence product roadmap, product direction, and really drive a level of transformation around how support is delivered using technology. And at the end of the day, marrying technology and compelling human support to really drive a value-add experience for customers.
All right. So for those of our listeners that don't know what Intercom is, could you tell them what your company does?
Yeah. So Intercom is an Irish founded company, very much focused on delivering the next generation customer service platform built for what we call an AI first world, but very much recognizing that combination of AI or technology or automation working in conjunction with human support that actually delivers the best customer experience possible. That's kind of the focus of Intercom. It is building and delivering, as I say, the next generation customer service platform. It's got a very strong heritage from a technology and innovation point of view. For example, it was one of the first organizations to use messenger technology for allowing or enabling customer communications in the support world, was very early in terms of adopting chatbot, adopting AI ML to do kind of conversation analysis, and now is adopting kind of the latest generation generative AI capabilities as well, and incorporating that into our platform.
All right. So AI covers quite a bit of things. Could you tell our listeners maybe, I would say, 2 or 3 top, areas that you think organizations need to focus on as it relates to AI, and maybe what are some of the skill sets? Because one of the things that they had mentioned when you were introduced to me was, organizations are taking on artificial intelligence, but they don't necessarily have the skill set to manage and integrate it fully with what they're offering to customers. So could you share with us maybe some of the things that organizations need to look at before they even embrace that type of technology?
Absolutely, yeah. So the first part of the question, so 3 areas where I think AI can be applied. So the first areas around customer engagement. And really, the advances that have happened in generative AI and in technologies like ChatGPT, etc., now there's an opportunity for the AI interaction with a customer to actually feel a lot more genuine, authentic, more contextual, being able to leverage a level of reasoning within the technology that wasn't there before in a lot of chatbot technology. So the first area where I think, the current manifestation of AI can be delivered is in delivering a better customer experience in dealing with that technology, and that technology being able to automate out, particularly transactions or issues that are very easy to resolve. So taking a lot of friction out of those particular simple transactions, and yet then being able to hand over the more complex transactions to a human support team that have all the context that the AI engagement has gone through, understands the customer situation, and it's basically a seamless handover to the human support side of things. Secondary is for that human support team themselves. There's a lot of AI tooling can help that team to drive a lot of efficiency and to help them do their job in a much better way. Even simple things, being able to prompt what we call kind of smart replies. So trying to understand the customer problem and suggest possible solutions for the support rep, so that they can then make an informed decision around what's the best solution, applying their own subject matter expertise to the guidance that's been given by the AI co-pilot, and basically, ultimately drive a better solution for the customer. There's even simple tooling that AI can provide, like summarizing a case or a conversation that a customer has had. Particularly important if you're doing 24/7 support and you're handing over from one region to another. Being able to have a tool that actually generates a summary of what has happened to date in a very kind of concise and factual way, and use that as the handover mechanism, again, just makes the life of the support team a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And the third area where AI can be applied is actually running a support operation. So being able to use AI technology to really understand the nature of the work that's coming into you, whether that's cases or conversations, being able to analyze those at scale and at volume, and look at the trends that are appearing there, and use that then to drive improvements, whether that's in the product, whether it's in your support processes, whether it's within the skill set that you have within your team. Those operational insights, they're the third area where AI can be applied and really drive value. They're kind of the three areas where I see AI, particularly as it is today, can be applied and drive a lot of value. The second question you had, which was around what skill sets are required. And that's a really interesting discussion, because there's lots of people are focusing on, well, if you take out all these transactions and you're handling them in an automated way, does that mean that the job of the support rep is going away? Absolutely not. Like, the job of the support rep is actually changing with AI, but changing in a very positive way. One, you're taking out a lot of the easy transactions or the easy issues, which ultimately don't provide fulfilling work for support agents. They actually like the more complex issues where they can actually demonstrate their subject matter expertise, they can hone their skills, hone their problem-solving skills, etc. So you're actually providing far more fulfilling work to support reps in that environment. But yeah, from a skill point of view, problem-solving skills are really important. Generally, if customers coming through the support team, it's for the more complex issues, and generally, they're expecting a level of empathy, a level of understanding of them as a customer. So you've got to have support reps who can really understand the customer context, provide a personalized experience as a result of that. And that's kind of the traditional support role is changing, but new roles are emerging as well. A very simple example, like I've hired in what I call a conversation designer in the last few months, because ultimately, if customers are interacting with automated technology and then dealing with a human support person, you really want to make sure that it's a seamless experience. And you've got to constantly look at, what is that customer experience? Is it actually as seamless as it needs to be? Is the handover almost seamless from a customer point of view? And you're taking full advantage of all the context that has been gained through the automated phase of dealing with the customer, so the customer doesn't have to duplicate information, actually feels like they're being heard from the very onset of their engagement with you as a support organization. But that has to be designed in. It doesn't happen by chance. Like, people kind of feel, I can turn on ChatGPT or I can turn on this AI technology and it just works. It works to a fashion, but if you really want to make it, stand out for you as a business and really drive value for your customers, you got to be very thoughtful around that whole conversation flow. And you've got to understand that not everything can be automated, and you have to think about the human support piece as well. And it's really about AI augmenting and supplementing that human support piece. The roles like conversation designer, or a new role is emerging, prompt engineering. How can you educate your customers to actually interface with your AI technology in the best way to actually get the maximum value back in terms of getting their questions answered, etc. So it's a really, really interesting space at the moment because it's evolving. No one has all the answers. There isn't the blueprint around exactly how this works. We're almost creating the run book as we go along and adopt this technology and really understand what does it mean from a customer experience point of view, what does it mean from a support rep point of view as well. So from that point of view, yeah, new skills are required. The AI technology is only as good as the information and knowledge that it has access to. Who generates that knowledge and information? It's our human support team. So again, there's much more emphasis on our team developing knowledge articles, developing knowledge artifacts that can be used by the AI layer. And that's really important as well. Like, you've got to make sure that you've got a very strong problem-solving mindset in your team, that they really think about, okay, well, customers had this issue, it's come through to me as a human support rep. How can I ensure that I can provide knowledge back into the ecosystem that makes sure if another customer has this problem, they're not going to come through to us, who we're able to automate it out. So that's, again, another skill set. The whole knowledge management, knowledge creation skill set is really important in the support world. So my own hypothesis that support role is actually going to become far more valuable in this world of AI first. And there are new skills, new capabilities required. So it's going to be a really, really interesting space for people from a career point of view.
All right, very good. So all of what you said a while ago, I even hear things like new careers coming up, new opportunities. The scope is so wide for persons who are emerging and trying to figure out what they want to do in life. I mean, when you think about where the world was 20 years ago and some of the careers that exist today, I'm sure 20 years from now, there are careers that are, as you mentioned, just emerging, that are going to become top areas that people will want to be pursuing, in like 2023 now. So 20 years from now would be 2043.
Absolutely, yeah.
What would be really existing by then?
Absolutely. There's going to be a whole new set of skill sets required. And it evolves. It's like when technology has emerged at any stage over the last number of decades, people have been able to adopt technology and change the nature of the roles that they undertook. But that technology is complementing roles and augmenting roles. And it's the exact same with AI. Like, it's about complementing the human support experience for our customers and driving the ultimate value for customers. And I say it's really exciting because I've been frustrated by the pace of adoption of technology, particularly within the customer support industry. I think by and large we deal with customers the same way we dealt with them a decade or 2 decades ago. And now there's an opportunity to really transform how support is delivered. And for that for me is really, really exciting.
All right. Okay, Declan, could you also share with us what's the one online resource, tool, website, or app that you absolutely can't live without in your business?
Absolutely. I mean, I could be very flippant and say Intercom itself, but I suspect you're probably looking for a different answer. So while our team do use Intercom, we rely a lot on it. I kind of took a step back, and there are lots of kind of productivity tools I could mention, but I'm actually going to give what is probably maybe a little bit of a surprising answer. But LinkedIn for me is a really, really vital tool for a whole lot of reasons. Like, in the sport world, it's all about connections and networking. And very often, in LinkedIn, you can get access to people who have new ideas, new opinions. They're sharing thought leadership, particularly around AI and customer service, etc. So it's been a really, really rich ground for getting information around what are people really considering as best practice? What are they thinking in terms of some of the challenges that they're facing when they adopt AI? So getting those connections and getting access to some of the thought leadership articles that are appearing in LinkedIn really, for me at the moment, make LinkedIn really compelling. It's also really useful there are sometimes situations where you may need to reach out to customers in a different way. So maybe not through your traditional channels, but you want to kind of have a different channel to talk to maybe someone in your organization, that's in a customer's organization, that you don't deal with on an ongoing basis. Again, LinkedIn is great just for getting those network set up and actually engaging with customers in a different way. And then from a recruitment point of view, it's still a rich source of understanding what talent is out there, who are looking for roles, what are people's experiences, who's a good match for maybe a new opportunity that you have. So for me, when I took a step back, I was trying to think of, well, is there a productivity tool, etc. And I kind of thought, actually, LinkedIn, it's the tool that I use most on a day-to-day basis to complement what I do in the role here.
All right. Could you also share with our listeners maybe one or two books that have had the biggest impact on you? It could be a book that you read a very long time ago or even one that you read recently.
Okay, am I allowed three?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the first one is a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this is really around the fact that you can drive improvements very incrementally. And he talks about, improving 1% per day and how that accumulates over time. And it really gets you thinking about changing your habits and making very small changes in how you work, but that ultimately delivering, very beneficial results at the end of the day. The other book is a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And this is around really allowing you to focus on what's the most important thing that you need to do right here, right now. Not that you neglect everything else, but you make sure that you give the right priority to the thing that's going to have the most impact right here and right now. And then the final one is a book called The Creative Problem Solver by a guy called Ian Atkinson. And that gives a framework of 12 problem solving techniques that I found really useful to share with teams and get them thinking about how can they approach different problems in different ways. And that framework of 12 tools or 12 approaches, ultimately, if you apply one or two of them to a particular problem, you will come up with some very creative solutions, very creative approaches to actually solving a particular problem. There are three books that I've kind of consistently gone back to in my career, and I've found them very impactful, both for me and for teams that I've been working with.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Declan. So we will have the links to those books in the show notes of this episode. Now, Declan, could you also share with our listeners what's the one thing that's going on in your life right now that you're really excited about? Either something you're working on to develop yourself or your people.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It goes back to the excitement that I talked about applying technology. So here in Intercom, we have built what we call an AI bot called Finn. That's the kind of name that we have for it. And I've been really kind of excited by the fact that I've been able to get early access to that technology. So we were the first beta customer for Finn. And that's the kind of thing that I'm working on. Is how can we apply Finn in the context of our own business and really drive a different customer experience? And I've got all the team engaged in that. So, again, for adoption of any technology, you really got to get your team excited, motivated by it. You've got to allow them to influence how you introduce that technology. That's kind of the biggest thing that I'm working on at the moment that, is allowing me, I think, to develop different perspectives around how you can apply this technology, getting my team involved, getting their insights around what does it mean from a customer perspective, what does it mean from a teammate perspective, and really beginning to build out, what does a support operation of the future look like when you are in what we call an AI first or an AI led world. And it's really interesting because there's lots of things will change around the metrics that you use to measure your team, the skills that the team need, how you think about capacity planning. There's lots of different things that kind of lead into building an operation of the future in this world. And that for me is the thing that is kind of, I think, energizing me the most and allowing me to learn the most as well. And equally for my team, like everyone in the team is really learning through this process. And they're really, being very thoughtful around how we can introduce this technology in the right way. So yeah, deploying Finn for our own use case and then supporting our customers who are using Finn. That's where myself and the team are really focused. And I say, I actually don't think I've been as energized in work for many decades.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Now, Declan, can you also tell our listeners where they can find you online?
So again, going back to my, what's my online tool, LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So LinkedIn is the best way to get me online. So Ivory is my username on LinkedIn. So more than happy if people want to reach out and connect. I'm always looking to build out my network, learn from other people, understand, what's best practice around the globe when it comes to customer experience and customer success.
All right. Now, before we wrap our episodes up, we always like to ask our guests, do you have a quote or a saying that during times of adversity or challenge, you'll tend to revert to this quote? It kind of helps to get you back on track if for any reason you got derailed.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have a quote from Henry Ford, and the quote is, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." And I think that really captures the benefit and the essence of failure. Like, everyone fails, and I think people need to be comfortable with failure once you're learning from it. And in Henry Ford's words, moving forward in a more intelligent way on the back of that learning.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. So we're going to have that quote so our listeners can tap into that awesome resource. Now, Declan, I just want to extend our deepest appreciation and gratitude to you for taking time out of your very busy schedule, for hopping on our podcast and sharing some of your insights, sharing a little bit about what your organization does, about what artificial intelligence is bringing to different industries, what are some of the opportunities that exist, not just from a development and customer experience perspective, but even in terms of new career opportunities and developments that can, emerge out of this new phase that we're going into. It was really insightful, and I really thank you so much for joining us today for this interview.
And thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts today. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Awesome. Just want to remind our listeners that they can join us on Facebook in our private Facebook group, Navigating the Customer Experience Community, and feel free to follow us on Twitter at NavigatingCX. Until next time, I'm your host, Yannick Grant. The ABCs of a Fantastic Customer Experience webinar will be hosted on Wednesday, July 26, 2023 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This webinar will be provided with a complimentary copy of the ABCs of a Fantastic Customer Experience book. Who should attend? Customer service representatives, customer care officers, customer service associates, support agents, business development officers, customer care representatives, cashiers, receptionists, sales and service representatives, customer retention agents, client support specialists, customer engagement officers, client care coordinators, reservation specialists, reservations agents, collections officers, client relationship officers, administrators, account executives. If you deal with customers daily and you are seeking reinforcement of the skills needed to offer an exceptional experience, then this webinar is for you. This webinar will cover managing customer expectations. What are the 4 things customer expectations are based on? Customer service skills. What are the skills and competencies required to serve others? Handling irate and difficult customers. How to handle difficult and irate customers in a busy work environment. Your attitude, communication, finding solutions, and rapid response. Tools that you will need to help you exceed your customers' expectations. This webinar will help you ignite your customer service skills, navigate your emotions, and better understand how to serve customers during a time when the customer is even more demanding than before. Your business will see the exponential rewards when your team members are continually creating fantastic and memorable experiences for your customers. Please visit the register here on our podcast show notes page, and please feel free to hop on over to Instagram. You can visit our business page, Customer Service Global, that's CUSTOMERGLOBA, or you can visit Yannick W.A. Grant, that's YANIQUEWAGRANT. Both Instagram handles will have the link for you to register for this amazing webinar. We look forward to seeing you there. Please come and bring all your friends and colleagues.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.